Let's continue. We'll begin the second session of today's FC meeting. Now concerning 37A, some members did not press the button to speak last time. In fact, we have very clear records in this regard, and so I don't want members to go on discussing this matter. But I will err on the relaxed side. And so, if members feel that they need to speak on 37A, they can queue up now. They can press the request to speak button now. And then each of you who has queued up will get 3 minutes. Right? So I think I've dealt with this point of order. A very brief point, Mr. Dennis Kwok. Please be brief. Chairman, I've written a letter to you on 37A, and you've given me a 3-page reply. We didn't have a chance to discuss that letter last time. So can we discuss that letter now? And I think it's just reasonable that we be given a chance to discuss this letter. I'll talk to the Secretariat later on what follow-up action needs to be taken after the reply has been issued. But you issued the letter, Chairman. The reply was from you. All right, 3 minutes for each member. Please press the request to speak button. Kenneth Leung, you are first. 3 minutes. I am not talking about 37A. I think you should deal with 39 first. Mr. KK Fong's point. We had a 15-minute closed door meeting. 37A. All right, Chairman. 37A. Ms. Pauline the former SG, and Mr. Jimmy Ma, the legal advisor, said very clearly that you didn't have the power to draw the line. And during the closed door meeting, we told you that you should give members a sufficient window to put in motions under 37A. Chairman, you are responsible for chairing the meeting. I understand you are concerned about the efficiency of the proceedings of the meeting. But then, the Pan-Democrats have already given way. We've already given concessions. We asked you for a window of 1 or 2 days to put in motions under 37A. And then you can follow the usual procedures to study and deal with all the motions received. I want to say this is the way you intend to deal with 37A can't be established as a case. I need to put this on record. Under 37A, the chairman doesn't have the power to impose a cap or to draw the line. You don't have this power. As to why this is the case, we don't know. Maybe there is this inherent implication or problem in 37A. But it doesn't mean that you can, without a sound basis, all of a sudden say that I'll give you 30 minutes and then you give me all the motions and then I'll make a decision and my ruling is final. Such a ruling doesn't have a basis at all, and there are no precedents to justify or support such a ruling. And I don't think this decision can be made on your behalf by the clerk or the legal advisor. And I want to talk about FC Procedure 31.
No， 你好似咧大部分時間都係依賴法律顧問同埋秘書處俾你嘅意見，跟住你話我贊同。
It seems that most of the time you rely on the advice of the legal advisor or the clerk, and most of the time you are saying that you agree with them. But then I think you need to, under 31, give your justifications. In other words, why do you think you want to adopt the clerk's advice or the legal advisor's advice? Next, Kenneth Chan, not here. Wu Chi Wai. Chairman, I think my name is very different from the name Kenneth Chan. The chairman of the last term of FC received a million motions. And it was said that a lot of resources would be required to deal with all those motions. But Chairman, you are really marvelous. You've already ruled out a large number of motions because you're saying that for amendments or motions of a serial nature, they should be ruled out of order. Now, members want to move motions to follow up, and they are relevant to the matter being discussed, and you have decided to disallow them. And members want to move motions so that there can be in-depth discussions into relevant issues, and I think you are disallowing that, and this is really unacceptable. Our proceedings are solemn proceedings. We need to have in-depth discussions into funding applications put before us. But Chairman, you have taken away members' rights to move motions. You are imposing restrictions on the exercise of such rights by members. This is unacceptable. 37A allows members to move motions directly related to the agenda item. Motions enable members to have in-depth discussions, and then there can be voting on the motions. These are solemn and proper and due procedures. So members can decide whether they want to have further discussions, and they can state their positions on the matter before them. You are taking away members' right, and as a result, outsiders think that this council, this finance committee, can no longer operate in a proper manner. So, in other words, in this council, in this committee, we have the majority being able to suppress the voices of the minority. 37A simply doesn't allow you to disallow members from moving motions, Chairman. Mr. James Toh. On 37A, Chairman, I don't only have in mind your political background, Chairman. If I were in your position, if I were the Chairman, I would need to deal with the matter. So let's look at, in an objective manner, the restrictions on the Chairman's power under 37A. And I think there is only one precondition here, and that is directly related to the agenda item. Now, of course, 37A doesn't seek to obstruct the FC's discharging its duties. The FC's duty is to consider funding applications from the administration. But then at the same time, members are entitled to express a view on the agenda item. And the precondition is that the opportunity to air views is directly related to the agenda item. That's the precondition, directly related to the agenda item. And so before voting, members have the responsibility to give comments which are directly related to the agenda item. our duty is not restricted to voting. We have the duty to give all our comments before we vote on the item. Now you are saying you won't be able to deal with so many motions without notice. You can adjourn the meeting and deal with such motions. You have the entire secretariat backing you up. And you can rely on the rulings of previous FC chairman as to what motions are related to the item and what motions are not. And so for certain obvious cases, you may only need a few seconds to come to a ruling. For others, which are not so clear-cut, you may need to spend more time giving a ruling. Now, assuming that my purpose is to obstruct the proceedings of the meeting, and as a result, I move millions and millions of motions. In fact, it's not as easy as that. I have to defend myself. I have to justify myself and the motions making reference to previous rulings of the FC chairman. And I don't think I can move numerous amendments of a sequential nature. Next, Mr. Wong Yok Man. Wong Yok Man.
Mr. Raymond Wong. Well, when we had Mr. Tommy Cheung as the chair of the FC when we started this session. I think he also encountered problems under Section 37A. Mr. Yip Kok Kim moved an amendment so that there would only be one motion to be moved under paragraph 37A, and then there was an uproar. And Mr. James Toh talked about moving millions of amendments. Well, at the time, Mr. Tommy Cheung was really clever. He refused to handle the proposal. Today, you are now faced with many motions. Well, I only waited until the last to move a motion. For Fernando Cheung, you said you talked to him, and then some of the proposals were screened out. At first, I had only got 800. Now I am getting infuriated. I'm running out 1,000 already, and another 3,000 will be in the process. So you must read the amendments proposed before you make a ruling. You can't just impose a will on us. And then my second point is about a piece of advice for you. You need to take up a lot of political responsibility. Now you just get us to speak our piece, and then you don't allow us to vote on the motions, and then you want to put the matter to the vote. Have you ever seen FC meetings having so many members present? And this is a political matter. You are faced with such a dilemma, and then you try to impose the will on us. Is it an instruction from 669? Well, in fact, this is our right. This is the legislature. Under paragraph 37A, well, if you dare to end the meeting, well, please remember that you don't have the same powers as the president. Well, perhaps you say that we can take the matter to court by way of a JR, and I can assure you of that. Now, if you don't deal with my 3,000 plus amendments or motions, I'm not going to let you off. This is unfair. You try to reduce 100 to 20, and then a few hundred down to just a couple of hundred. All my 3,000 motions are motions of wisdom. You have no way to throw them out. Frederick Fung. For a member of the legislature, I think we have this inherent duty, that is to monitor the government. And we can only work under the rights and powers under the basic law, and there aren't too many of them. For the appropriation bill, we can only cut the expenditure. We can't increase the public expenditure. And sometimes we can only say yes or no to a proposal without the power to amend. Now, our powers are indeed really limited. Now, the rules of procedure allow us to move amendments to government's proposals, and we may speak to such proposals. Don't you think it's easy to come up with 1,000 or a few hundred motions? There must be a reason, there must be a purpose behind that. You may think that we are the mob. Well, maybe you are being unreasonable. You cannot convince the members of the legislature, or you cannot convince the community. What happened last Friday clearly showed that if we were to force our way, be it the villagers or others, or whether the villagers were provoked by the others or the other way round. I'm a social movement activist. I always want to be peaceful. The police might have done something wrong. Now, do you think that you want the society to be divided? Do you think that this will be to the benefit of some people? Maybe this is a political gain. Chair, I have met with you a number of times over the last couple of days. When you met with the Pandemocrats, who were very positive, you tried to help resolving the matter. Well, today, as you know, that I seldom take part in filibustering, but today I have to take part till the end, because it is obvious that you are not going to resolve the matter by rushing through the voting. You must prevent it from being put to the vote, and then we can start a dialogue to deal with the matter. As to whether we can resolve the problem, it depends on the outcome of the dialogue. Now, if we represent the people, if we on our own believe that there is a need to move motions to amend the proposals, then I think you cannot restrict the number of times that we ask questions. And then we have Mr. Yip Kok Him's motion to deal with amendments to the FC procedures. Are you trying to jump the queue? Are you trying to override the others? Mr. Sin Chung Kai, thank you, Mr. Chairman. Well, when we are dealing with public affairs, we have to be reasonable and sensible. Just now, it appeared that you were trying to rule on our motions under 37A. This is dangerous because you may provoke further unnecessary clashes or confrontation. I hope that you will keep calm and let us deal with the proposals under paragraph 37A in a peaceful manner. You may be creating a very bad precedent. As Emily Lau has said, I think there was an attempt to amend the rules. Of course, Tommy Cheung technically ended the filibustering. Now, if you just don't cast a glance on the papers and then you just try to end all the motions to be moved without giving notice, I'm afraid if you resort to that, you will provoke the anger. Now, 1,000 to 2,000 people have already gathered outside the electoral complex. Something unpleasant happened last week. I think to a certain extent it was because you hastily tried to put the matter to the vote. And sometimes you may do something which will be the cause of another action. Now, on the TV screen, you may see many young people storming the electoral, but try to think in terms of the views. When they watched how the proceedings went on, probably, like them, you will also become very infuriated. Mr. Chairman, today, when you try to make the rulings, if you do rule in this way, this is getting dangerous because you are only adding fuel to the fire. I won't I didn't take part in the filibustering, and I don't support that. 20+ members sincerely wrote to the administration and to you, and through you, we hope that we can try to moderate the matter. And through you, I think we try to secure a meeting between Mr. Paul Chen and the villagers. We hope that we can ease the pressure, we can deal with the problem. Just now, we hope that through Federal Reforms motion, we can discuss other items on the agenda so that we can gain time, and then we don't need to defer any further. Now, if you want to impose a will on us, and probably you have got the power to do so, but I don't think the result would be good. The outcome would only be even more negative. I hope I can try in my own way to persuade you, and I hope that you can give us a favorable reply. Albert Ho. Mr. Chairman, just now there was a motion to adjourn. You said that we had to look at what was done in the past. We tried to be consistent, and we shouldn't be departing from our previous practice. And so you said that for the same session, we shouldn't move another motion to adjourn the item. But then the circumstances are different. I'm trying to tell you what is the nature, and please listen to me. We were talking about paragraph 37A. We were supposed to be consistent, and yet you just didn't listen to us. Your predecessor, Tommy Cheung, knew very well that he couldn't end the filibustering lightly. And then Mr. Yip Kok Kim would like to amend the rules. There may be many motions arriving, and we don't know how to deal with them. We are not able to deal with that yet, so that question has been shelved. Now you have become the chair, and you dare to ignore that. Just now you were talking about consistency, following the rules, following the convention, and now all out of sudden you try to cast it away, and you say that you get the advice from the Secretariat, and then you say that you have got the inherent power to maintain and to chair the meeting. This may be something new. This may be news to us. It may be something that we are not. We do not know about. And you talked about challenging the powers in the court. Now, Chair, have you been independent, calm, cool-headed in considering the matter before you rule on a matter? That's why we try to halt the proceedings. Now, when you listen to the audio recording, you always say that it's an advice from the Secretariat, and you even said that you were instructed by the Secretariat. How come the Secretariat would dare to instruct you what to do? Yes, you are much better than Andrew Leung in terms of the temperament. You are better tempered, but then that's not enough. You need to do your homework. You need to read up the rules of procedure. When we talk about points of order will always take precedence. Say, for example, when I stand up and say that there is a lack of quorum, then you can't ignore me. You can't say that we deal with it later. You have to deal with it right now. Next, Mr. Dennis Kwok. I have a few questions for the legal advisor in relation to the reply that you gave me. I hope the legal advisor will give me an answer. First of all, in the second paragraph of the letter, it says that according to the law, you yourself would have certain powers. But what about the legal principles? What about the legal perspective? I hope the legal advisor can give me an answer. You need to leave time for the LA. And then for the Legco's president's powers, it comes from the basic law Article 72, bracket 1, but you don't enjoy the same powers. But how come that in the third paragraph of the reply, it said that you enjoy the same powers as those belonging to the President of the LegCo? And then for paragraph 37A, it's up to you to decide on the powers that you enjoy. I think you need to follow the existing powers. If you want to change our practice, and then according to paragraph 30 of the FC procedures, you have to consult the entire committee, and you must have the committee's agreement before you can change it. How come that you say that the implied powers can take you above paragraph 30 of the FC procedure? Legal advisor, please give a brief reply. Mr. Chairman, for your reply to Mr. Kwok in paragraph 2, it is said that according to the general legal principles, when necessary and in due course, the chair, in order to discharge his functions, it can be said that there must be certain implied, reasonable, or powers that would necessarily be given to him. And according to the circumstances, this means that the person chairing the meeting can then invoke such powers to control the meeting. And then for the LegCo president and other chairmen of committees, they have the same common function, namely to conduct a meeting, to chair a meeting. So the nature is the same, and therefore they all have the duty to make sure that the meeting is conducted in a fair manner. I've asked you to leave behind sufficient time for him to give an answer. It's very important. Let him finish. There are other ways. Just now we said that each member will have 3 minutes to speak. Helena Wong, let me give my time for the legal advisor to answer the question. All right. So please carry on your 3 minutes. Mr. Chairman. Paragraph 31. Sorry. I think just now the member was referring to paragraph 30, which establishes that the FC chair, the FC will be empowered to make their own rules in relation to paragraph 70. It doesn't go on to talk about the details as to how the procedures should be drawn up. Just now we have all read the rules of the rules. For the last amendment, that is when 37A was written and drafted and included into the procedures, with the assistance of the Secretariat, the Chair and the Vice Chairman examined and reviewed the rules, and then all the members were consulted, and then there was a proper paper to be endorsed by the FC. So what I want to say is that for all the rules, all the procedures, as I've pointed out in my reply, in the case of the FC, we have to follow the previous practices. So, of course, in due course, under appropriate circumstances, the chair chairs the meeting and has the duty to control and manage the meeting.
And we would have to decide what has to be decided by the whole committee. Now, in the past, when there was no controversy, then most of the time the chairman would lead the committee to confirm certain matters. And then after a certain time, these would become a practice. And if there is a need, then such a practice would be included in the FC procedure. This is how I understand it, and I hope this is of help to members. Your time is used up. Next, Mr. Chen Chi-chin. Mr. Ng Leung Sing. Up to now, I still address you as Mr. I'm giving you face. I'm not addressing you chairman or a council member, because you don't know how to be a chairman. You have promised us 3 minutes, and we can talk about 37A, but you want to go back on your words. Do you remember how you decided on the 3 minutes? We all rushed out and you tried to appease us, and you gave each member 3 minutes. And now you try to dictate everything. And I think all the Hong Kong people are witnessing this. Now, if you go to Admiralty, you can look at the graffiti of your face. You will know how people call you. Why are people against national education? Why are they against so many things? And now they are besieging the electrical complex. Why is that? Because they think the electrical should be a gatekeeper. And in the course of doing this, Mr. Ng Leung Sing, you have the greatest responsibility. Now, you said that you wanted people to understand you. You have tried to talk to the government. You have asked the government to withdraw it for a while, but actually you cheated us. Now, if you work in accordance with the FC procedures, and if we are allowed to talk about 37A, then the government would have no choice. And even if Mrs. Carrie Lam is very capable, she couldn't have said those words. That is no need for further negotiation. Then the government would be forced to talk to the villagers, to talk to the oppositionists. Now, on the face, you are saying that you would help to negotiate, but actually you are supporting the government in the back. You knew that last time there was violence and some people were injured. And a lot of young people, they don't know why, and then they are arrested. And they may even have a criminal record. Won't you feel sad? Why are they doing this? You are responsible. You are imposing this on us. You have sparked all that. Do you have children? Do you have grandchildren? And if because of your decision they did all these and they were arrested and they had criminal record, would you feel regretful? I ask you to give each of us 3 minutes to discuss 37A so that we can put forward the motion to adjourn. Can that be done? This is a new suggestion. Please finish your speech. You finished? I want you to search your conscience. Don't you feel bad? Time's up. The clerk will explain to you. Chairman, well, for paragraph 39 of the FC procedure is about the discussion of a paper on the agenda, and we are not discussing a paper. I'm sorry, the speaker is off mic. Sorry, the speaker is speaking off mic. the LegCo has never done this. That is, we would not move a motion to adjourn like this. The speaker's mics are off. Legal advisor, can you supplement? Now, if we put things in context, in particular, when we look at the duties and functions of the FC, then the word proposal should be interpreted in such a manner. And, Chairman, now members are allowed to speak on 37A and its implementation. You said that the word proposal should be interpreted in a broader manner. However, it should not be interpreted like this. Now, this is very clear. This is my decision as a chairman. So this is not about proposal. It's already very clear. The legal advisor has given his advice. Please do not discuss whether he's right or wrong. The legal advisor has given an advice, and then the chairman can decide if he takes the legal advisor's advice. And my decision is that we don't have to deal with this. Next, Mr. Yip Keen Yuen. Chairman, we don't understand what you say, but I would like to talk about 37A. Well, the decision on 37A will bring about a new crisis. I would like to take this opportunity to say something. For the Democrats are handling this. We have been very proactive. We try to find a solution. We are trying to resolve the present crisis. In the past 2 days, we have met with the chairman twice. We met the villagers once. We have several internal meetings. I attended all those internal meetings. The goal of these meetings is to solve problems, and we have put forward several suggestions. First of all, would the government change some of the agenda items, and can the committee itself do it? Now, the villagers have shown good intention. They say that they would not storm into the electoral complex, but the government insists on staying put. So what can be done? Then the councillors should do something. And also, can we change the agenda through the chairman? The chairman has decided not to do so. So we are wondering if we can move a motion to adjourn the discussion of the item. Now, before the government has a dialogue with the villagers, I don't think we should bring things to a deadlock. I have talked to the chairman very frankly. Now, if we approve the funding today, and then the secretary talks to the villagers, then there's nothing to talk about. So, Chairman, you were very nice. You built half of the bridge. However, we have to finish the other half of the bridge. We don't know whether the dialogue between the secretary and the villagers would lead to a good result, but at least there should be a better communication, and that is what we are trying to do today. We do not want to aggravate the crisis, otherwise the problem will become more serious. So I hope the pro-establishment camp will understand our intention today. Mr. Albert Chen, later on I will debate with the legal advisor about the spirit behind paragraph 39. Several days ago, I visited Longhair, and he's written a poem for the chairman. I would like to read out the poem. Well, this is Longhair's poem to you. This is his opinion, and he said that in a bright sky, you are trying to stop filibustering, and you are protecting the government. You want to approve the development of net. So you would understand what he means. The referendum has just started, and now 140,000 people have voted. Legal advisor, in accordance with paragraph 39, I would now officially move the motion on 37A. We are talking about 37A. We are not talking about funding for NENT. And this is different from the earlier motion to adjourn the meeting. Now, in accordance with 37A, I would like to move a motion. I hope the legal advisor would understand the difference. Earlier on, Mr. Gary Fan tried to move another motion. That motion is on the funding for NENT. And earlier on, my motion was also about the funding for NENT. The chairman now allows member to talk about 37A. That is whether it can be invoked so that members can move a motion without notice. This is a unique and complicated issue. Many members may not understand this because in the past we haven't really discussed this in details. And now the chairman is trying to invoke 37A. And at the last meeting, we didn't have enough time to discuss this in great details. So now I am officially moving a motion to adjourn the meeting. This is a difference from the last proposed motion. And I hope the legal advisor can understand the spirit and principle behind my action. Yes, it's very clear. I want the legal advisor to answer, not you. I want the legal advisor to answer me from a legal perspective. This is my time. Don't I have the right to do so? You have finished your speech. Please stop. I have heard the legal advisor's view, and I have made a ruling. Please stop speaking. If you continue to speak, I will ask you to get out. Next, Mr. Charles Mock. Well, Chairman, you have to handle this first. Either you disapprove it or approve it, and you are not handling it. Don't use my time. I have already said that I have made a ruling. And the clerk or we don't need the clerk or the legal advisor to explain anymore. I have made a decision. Now, if you want to argue with me, I can only ask you to get out. Next, Charles Mock. Mr. Charles Mock. Chairman, a point of order. I have handled all the... Now, if anyone speaks like that, I will ask you to get out. I have already dealt with the issue just now. You are just stopping people from speaking. Hold on, I'll ask the clerk to supplement. Here are 3,042 motions. Can the clerk give a brief answer? Now, the member said that he wanted to move a motion to adjourn the meeting in accordance with paragraph 39. And the chairman has earlier made a ruling. He says that he's not going to deal with motions moved under paragraph 39. The chairman has made a ruling already. Well, I cannot guarantee that every one of you will agree with me, but I've made a ruling. So if you want to speak, please raise your hand. And Mr. Ronnie Tong, according to my understanding, now Mr. Albert Chen is moving a motion to adjourn. If you look at paragraph 39, there are two possibilities. One is to adjourn the discussion on an item or a paper. The other is a motion to adjourn the meeting. So for paragraph 39, it also asks us to refer to Rule 40 of the Rules of Procedures. And the adjournment of debates or of proceedings are different. So if you think that we shouldn't discuss an item anymore, then we can discuss other items. But if a meeting is adjourned, then the meeting would end at that point. So we have not handled such a motion before. And according to 39, if a member proposes to move a motion, you should allow the members to speak, and each member can be allowed to speak for 3 minutes. It's very clear. Just now, we were not talking about adjournment of meetings. These are two different things.
I
have talked to the clerk and the legal advisor again. We are not talking about a proposal. We're talking about a decision made by me. If, basing on my decision, you want to move a motion to adjourn the meeting, then I will not deal with it. Well, for paragraph 39, if there is a proposal, then we can look at that proposal. As the chairman, I have made a decision, so I hope you will not argue with me. I have taken the legal advisor's advice and made such a decision. I'm not going to argue with you over this anymore. I'm sorry, the speakers are all speaking off mic. Mr. Dr. Fernando Chan, what's your point of order? Very simple. Just now you said that you would not handle Mr. Chen Chi-chin's motion to adjourn the meeting. Your reason is that this so-called proposal, well, according to the legal advisor, well, if you look at it in context, then we are still discussing the funding. So for this proposal, it is tantamount to something we have been talking about. So you have made a ruling before, so that's why you are not handling it now. This is the logic behind your ruling.
Just now, Mr. Albert Chen has moved a motion to adjourn the meeting, and you've cited the same reason to refuse to handle the motion. But I want to say that we haven't dealt with such a motion during this meeting. So can you invite the legal advisor to explain very clearly what is the proposal being discussed, the funding application or 37A. Yes, Chairman, please allow me to clarify what I have said. The proceedings before the Finance Committee relate to the chairman giving members an opportunity to give their comments on the chairman's decision made last time concerning 37A. And so this doesn't tally with the precondition in paragraph 39, and that is a member when speaking on a proposal in the committee, blah, blah, blah. So, in fact, this is not a proposal. This is a decision I made last time. So I hope members will not continue arguing over things that have already been made clear. Mr. Charles Mark, 3 minutes. Point of order, Chairman. A point of order. Mr. Tong, do you have anything further to add? I think the legal advisor has misunderstood the motion moved by Mr. Albert Chan. Yes, we're talking about 37A, but then that's part of the discussion on the funding application. And if a member wants to adjourn the meeting when a funding application is being discussed, that will satisfy the precondition under paragraph 39. How come you can stop a member from moving a motion to adjourn the meeting? And then under paragraph 40 of the rules of procedure, you have to allow each member 3 minutes to speak on the motion, and then members can vote on the motion. Mr. Tong, the legal advisor has already given an explanation more than once, and as the chairman, I need to give a ruling. Paragraph 39 of the FC procedure reads, and I quote, "A member, when speaking on a proposal in the committee, may move without notice that discussion on an item or further proceedings of the committee be now adjourned." So it can be a motion to adjourn the discussion of a particular item, or it can be a motion to adjourn further proceedings of the committee. So what we are discussing at the moment is not the proposal or a proposal. The chairman made a decision under 37A, and members said that they were unhappy with the chairman's decision under 37A, and so I exercised my discretion to give each member 3 minutes to give their views on my decision made under paragraph 37A. So please do not dwell on this matter anymore. I think the public are observing our proceedings. All right, Mr. Charles Mock, 3 minutes. Let's not continue with this discussion. I think the situation is very clear. So, concerning my decision, there can't be a motion to adjourn the meeting in relation to my decision under 37A, and I think it's inappropriate to keep on arguing with me and a legal advisor on this. So please do not argue with me anymore. We are following the FC procedure. Mr. Mock, if you don't want to speak, then we'll move on to the next speaker. Mr. Mock, Mr. Charles Mock. Chairman, now I really don't know what's happening. I believe many people feel as puzzled as I am. Those who are watching the live broadcast are also puzzled. I believe only you know what's going on, because it seems that you are doing what you want to do. those observing the proceedings are of the view that the situation is very chaotic. You are not following proper procedures. Now, Chairman, we are grateful to you because in the past 2 or 3 days, you were willing to communicate with us. So we are grateful. But then, today, you seem to be a very different person. I understand that you also want to resolve the matter that is a matter of great concern to the thousands of people outside this complex. Here at this meeting, we are making reasonable requests, but then in a language that's not comprehensible to us, you keep saying that this can't be allowed and that cannot be allowed. Yes, Chairman, we really hope that there can be a meeting between the villagers and Mr. Paul Chan. So we hope that the villagers and those who are concerned about this matter can have an opportunity to directly communicate with Mr. Paul Chan. But then you are not allowing us to help you make this happen. And you're not allowing us to help you resolve the conflict. Last week, some accused the Pan-Democrats of not being present at the FC meeting. And you can see that the Pan-Democrats are almost all present except those who are out of town. But then, Chairman, it seems that we don't have many pro-establishment members here. So perhaps you can decide to close the door now, and then we can proceed to vote. Let's lock the doors. Where are the pro-establishment members? Order, please. Order, please. Mr. Mok, you can continue. Now, we do not want the public to see such farce go on. And some members have asked the right question. Why is it that people are trying to storm or besiege LegCo? This is because we are expected to be gatekeepers. Now, I think you also have your responsibility. Please do not look so happy when I talk about proceeding to vote. Mr. Chan Kwok-Chu, this council should be a solemn place. But then, last time when we had an FC meeting and also this time when we're having this meeting, LegCo looks like a market. It's like a marketplace. Many students are watching live broadcast of this meeting. They want to know how we act in accordance with proper rules and procedures. And if the meeting is not conducted in accordance with rules and procedures, if a meeting is not conducted under due process, then that means the chairman, the boss, or the big brother, or the head of a society can have all the say. Now, in a student union, in an owners corporation, at a board of directors meeting of a company, there are rules and procedures to follow. Some societies may not have rules or procedures laid down in black and white, but in fact there are rules that they all understand and follow. And in fact, some societies are very civilized nowadays. Now, Chairman, do you know why we were so angry last time and why we are so angry this time? We in this chamber are infuriated. So are those outside this complex observing our proceedings. 37A is very clear. A member may move a motion without notice to express a view on the agenda item if the motion is considered by the chairman as directly related to the agenda item and agreed by a majority of members that it should be proceeded forthwith. Chairman, you didn't act in accordance with 37A. Last time, Mr. Fernando Cheung put in over 600 motions, and today Mr. Wong Yok Man has submitted 3,042 motions. You need to rule on them. You may decide that all of them are out of order, but still your ruling is required. You have to rule on them. These are motions that can be moved without notice. You may say, oh, I can't accept such motions indefinitely. So if that's your worry, draw a line. Mr. Ronnie Tong. Chairman, I hope you understand that the powers of a chairman are not unlimited. Firstly, your powers originate from the ROP, and second, you need to exercise your powers to achieve the objective of the meeting. And the objective of the meeting is not to have all of us pressing the button to support the government's proposal. We need to monitor the government. We need to make sure that public funds are well spent and wisely spent. And also, as a LegCo member, you have to act in accordance with public interest. Chairman. Now, yes, there will be development in the next decade in NAND if this application is approved. But at this moment, we are not talking about the future. We're talking about the present. There are so many conflicts. There is so much confrontation. Now, a meeting will be held between the secretary and the villagers next week. And so, Chairman, I think you should exercise your powers to allow members to move motions that they are entitled to move. Chairman, you need to discharge your duties as a legislator and as the chairman of the FC. If the meeting can't be completed today, so be it. But you are acting as if there was fire, or there was fire under your chair, and it seems that you want to leave as soon as possible. Chairman, I want to say that I do not often agree with Mr. Albert Chan, but Mr. Albert Chan has moved a motion in accordance with the FC procedure. I understand what the legal advisor was trying to say, but I hope that the legal advisor can look at paragraph 39 of the FC procedure again. There is the word proposal, and this word can't be found in the other paragraphs. 37 and 38 refer to agenda items. So it seems that you're suggesting that a proposal is equivalent to an agenda item. All right. So we are now discussing 37A. So after we've discussed 37A, we will go back to the agenda item. And at that time, members are still entitled to move motions to adjourn the meeting. And you can't at that juncture simply say that you need not deal with such emotion. All right. Does anyone else wish to speak?
如果冇其他發言呢？
No. Then, Chairman, I think this matter has been sufficiently discussed. The clerk, give me the list of members who have yet to speak. So all those who have pressed the button to speak in relation to 37A have already spoken. So I've already made the necessary arrangements in accordance with my decision. So the chairman has made a decision under 37A. That decision will not be altered. And as the Finance Committee, a point of order. Point of order. I move that the meeting of the FC be immediately adjourned. This is moved under paragraph 39 of the FC procedure. All right, let's have a debate on the motion. So each member will have 3 minutes. But we have such a motion more than once. So a German debate.
我再講一講就係
All right. Concerning the time limit, it says not more than 3 minutes. It says, shall not make a speech for longer than any time period as decided by the committee or where no such decision has been made for more than 3 minutes. So 3 minutes means there is no decision made by the committee. But then as the chairman, I need to make a decision. We've already had similar debates and similar motions before. And I now decide that members can vote on whether it should be 3 minutes or 1 minute. Chairman, I move 10 minutes. Chairman, I move 15. All right. I'll ask members about 1 minute first. I'll not waste members' time anymore. All right. The division. 1 minute. A division.
先頭由1分鐘開始。
We'll vote from 1 minute.
係一個咁簡單1分鐘嘅決定。
It's a simple decision. 1 minute. Please do not go on wasting the meeting's time. All right. The bell will ring. The bell will ring for 1 minute. I say this once again. And under 31, paragraph 31, the chairman can make a decision. So I will propose 1 minute. If members endorse 1 minute, then 1 minute. If members endorse 2 minutes, then 2 minutes. So we'll start with 1 minute. Now, we've already dealt with similar motions or the same motions before, and that's why I'm exercising my discretion to deal with this motion in this manner. All right?
好，而家請各
All right? A point of order. Voting begins.
請大家表決。
Voting begins. Members, please cast your votes.
請各位請你哋邊啲未撳嘅請
Those who haven't pressed the button. Those who haven't pressed the button. Please check the votes you've cast. Because you haven't returned to your seats, please return to your seats because we need to check your votes. All right, please check your votes.
表決。
Please check your vote. Please check your vote. Please declare. Please declare the result.
講，你俾咗幾多分鐘大家投票？你俾咗。
大家請大家
Members, order please. We carry on with the meeting. If you don't return to your seat, we need to carry on. Just now, we voted for the first time on 1 minute. The question has been negatived. 51 present, 24 for, 26 against. It has been negatived. Next, please return to your seat immediately, Mr. Wong Yuk-man. We are still please keep quiet. I'll ask the clerk to explain. Mr. Chairman, let me report. Just now, the question was, the committee would like to vote on the following point, that is to turn the speaking time to have 1 minute for the speaking time. Mr. Wong Yuk-man, please return to your seat. Just now, it was about the speaking time limit for the motion to adjourn the meeting. That is, you vote against turning it into 1 minute. So in accordance with paragraph 39, unless you have other decisions, the 3-minute rule will be maintained.
好，而家馬上安排發言，請發言嘅。
We'll make arrangements for you to speak. For those who would like to speak, please press the button.
而家要求發言嘅請按下按。
For those who would like to speak, please press the request to speak button.
我唔處理。
I won't deal with procedural matters. I can only deal with points of order. Yes, I want to raise a point of order. Albert Chen, brief. I just want to know. Just now, you said we would like to vote on 1 minute. How come that you can unilaterally say that we ring the bell for 1 minute only? Clerk, Mr. Chairman. According to paragraph 47, earlier on, there was already a decision of the FC that is in further claims for division on this matter. The bell will ring for 1 minute. So it is very clear whether you are in support or not. There was already a decision made. Now we'll start the debate as soon as possible. 3 minutes each. Mr. Fung will be the first to speak. Ronnie Tong, but you allow others to have 2 minutes to walk into the chamber and then you stopped to vote. Just now, many members had not yet returned to their seat. It has to be 1 minute. You can't allow them to have 3 minutes. So you breached the 1 minute rule. So did you take the lead to breach the rule of 1 minute? Order, please. Stop speaking immediately. Stop speaking immediately. We'll now have the motion debate on the motion to adjourn the meeting. Patrick Fung. Should we give precedence priority to points of order? Claudia Mo, what is the point of order? Let me clarify with you just now for the time for the vote. When you first declared the vote until the time we closed the vote, how much time did you spend? I saw with my own eyes you waited for Chen Yun-hen and Wok Kok-heng to return to the seats before you say, please check your vote, and Mr. Chen Han-peng as well. So the whole thing should be rendered invalid. I heard your point. The way you handled this should be rendered the vote invalid. Well, we have already come to decision by vote, so please do not dwell on the voting. Patrick Fung. Yes, Mr. Chairman. I move a motion to adjourn the meeting immediately. I think there will be three major problems if we are to vote on the funding request. First of all, the government has double standards. For the Dulles Corner Garden, I raised 9 questions, spreading over a number of meetings. In between, be it the Development Bureau or the Labor and Welfare Bureau, we were invited to attend a meeting to deal with the future. At first, it was supposed to be put down. 1,000 will be rehoused, and then 700 could be rehoused in the same district. Please give me back my 7 seconds. Well, as a result of our talk, our proposal was partially adopted. 70% will be rehoused in the same district, 30% will be rehoused across the district. Is it because an elderly member knelt down and so you became sympathetic, while the others haven't done the same, and so they didn't get the same treatment? So I just want to know whether it is a matter of double standards. And then for the direction of the development, as well as our requests concerning NENT. We want NENT to be turned into a decent place for the people of Hong Kong to live in. There is an adequate consultation. Is there an opportunity for Hong Kong citizens to tell you what we want there? Public housing, shopping malls, a hospital, shopping offices, etc. And what about vacant land in the city? What about land where we have got military facilities? I think we should try to rank the priorities. I think we were at the peak of the debate and the society was divided. I really appreciate your effort to invite the administration to have a meeting with us. I think this should be regarded as a good beginning, so that maybe each party can try to give some concessions so as to see a solution being found. Today, if we are to vote on the matter, and then if we endorse the proposal, then the meeting will the meeting with the Bureau will be rendered meaningless. So I think we should try our best to deal with the problem in a face-to-face meeting. So I don't think we should vote on the matter. It is necessary to adjourn the meeting. Dr. K.K. Kwok. I support Patrick Fung's motion to adjourn the meeting. I think we can see how things have developed for the past 2 years. Had it not been for a villager going on his knees And had it not been what happened last week, Paul Chan would not have listened to us and would not have listened to them. Chair, I think you have at least made the first right step. On behalf of us, we try to talk to the directors of Bureau, telling them that they have to meet with the villagers. And therefore, this isn't the right time to make a decision. The villagers do not yet have the chance to meet with the officials face-to-face. All along, the administration has been saying that there's no way that there can be a face-to-face meeting. They were almost saying that the bulldozer is already on the doorstep. So today isn't really the right time to debate the topic. I have heard that many villagers, despite the difficulties, are still persisting. They are still trying to fight for their interests on a non-violent basis. But then we have the violence of the systems. You try to impose a will on us. The vote that just took place was outrageous. You did say that it should be 1 minute. The bell should ring for 1 minute. And then you tried to wait and wait until there were sufficient votes. Now, we have the function to monitor the administration. You also agree that the administration has been outrageous. Otherwise, you would not have come forward and asked Paul Chan to meet with the villagers. You also think that is important. You also hope that the administration will take care of the interests of the grassroots. Now, a few conglomerates, including some members here who are non-executive directors of some holding companies like Yip Kok Kim and also Mr. Lau Wong Fat, his family company has land interest. Mr. Jeffrey Lam is also a non-executive director on Chow Tai Fook. So it seems that you're trying to maintain and protect the interests of the conglomerates rather than looking at the genuine needs of the people. So I don't think it's the right time to vote on the matter. We were told that this is land for housing for the people of Hong Kong, but then we still have a lot of vacant land lying idle. How come that you should propose development in NTNE? I don't think it's really for the people of Hong Kong. Your time is up. Claudia Mo. Many people misunderstood, thinking that for the development in Northeast NT is only a matter of filibustering and ending the filibustering. No, this is not the case. Well, somehow, in the past, there were people who tried to stand on moral high ground and say that they would not bring themselves to filibustering. I don't think you can try to avoid taking side. It is either yes or no. We have this council violence. It is not physical violence. It's not physically jostling or pushing and pulling. We have a very serious sense of helplessness. Filibustering. You may say that we are wasting time, wasting resources, and then once again we are told that the amount of money that we spend can be used to buy so many tins of preserved fish. There's no need to count the votes. No need to say whether the votes have been secured. As soon as the boss gives the direction, then they know how to vote. Mr. Chairman, I don't know whether it was too confusing, you didn't see it, or you did it deliberately. And I didn't want to blame the members, but I was here. I saw with my own eyes It appeared to me that you waited for Chen Yun-han and Wong Kwok-hing to go to their seat and voted before you say the voting has ended and we should count the votes. It is impossible. I said that it's invalid, and then they were good, and then this side said that it's not good. I think you are turning the LegCo into a place we are having a farce. I think we should pause and think. Filibustering is not good. You may dismiss our acts as saying that we are going after the votes. You say that the new territories, legislative councillors are just trying to get votes. It's unfair. In fact, my constituency is in Kowloon. It's not a populist act. Go out and see the anger of the disadvantaged, the old and the poor. Please, for their sake, please adjourn the meeting. Helena Wong, just now I gave my 3 minutes to the legal advisor. How many seconds are there in 1 minute? International standard says that it's 60 seconds in a minute. But in this legislature, when you chair the meeting, 1 minute can become 60 seconds plus n seconds. When you chair our meeting, there can be more than 60 seconds in a minute. Mr. Chairman, I support Frederick Fung's motion to adjourn. This is because it appears that by this stage you are not clear-minded, you are not too familiar with the rules or procedures, you are biased, and you are not capable, you are not convincing. You are not convincing here, you are not convincing outside of the chamber. So I think it's better to adjourn so that you can become sober, you can become clear-headed, you can do your homework, get yourself more familiar with the rules. I think the administration is to be blamed. Professor C.K. Chen is not here. He should have come, and he has the power to withdraw the paper so that we can move on to other items on the agenda, which are urgent items. Where is he? Just now, a member suggested that we should ask the public officials to consider withdrawing the paper or moving a motion to adjourn. But you didn't allow this. I don't think there is any suggestion to say that there can be no development in NENT. But the fact is, it is very controversial. It is not yet mature. We're not yet ready. There are still controversies which haven't been addressed. So if we are to force our way and try to seek an approval, then we are paying a very high, dear price. It will be a price that we cannot afford. I think you are now feeling the pain. At first, we tried to ask you not to be the chair for this item. Now it appears that it will come to a fruitless end. I don't think we will put the matter to the vote tonight. Now, please give us the chance so that we can have a meeting with the Secretary for Development responsible for NENT development so that we can sort out the matters, we can address the disagreements, and then we come back to the FC and we have a rational discussion. I'm sure it's a matter of land allocation. Homes will be destroyed. It's also a matter of our local agricultural policy, whether we should conserve the agricultural land, and as well as the future of the Dale's Corner Garden. Your time is up. Li Chek-yen. Today, Mr. Chairman, we can feel for ourselves the violence of the system. First of all, this government can see for itself that there will be sufficient votes, and so the government would like to impose its will on us. I think we can see that all the statements of the government are lies. C.Y. Leung, Paul Chan recently tried to exaggerate and say that for housing, for public housing, and therefore we have to develop NENT. This is the biggest lie. Among 600 hectares of land, only 36 hectares are for public housing.
If the Fanling Golf Course, 170 hectares of it, can be used for this purpose, then 4 times of the public housing production can be achieved. So this is not for housing. This is a transfer of interest, and you're transferring the interest to the conglomerates. And you are saying that if you have a piece of land that's over 4,000 square meters, then you can have a land change. So this is also to favor the conglomerates, but you are cheating the people, saying that this is for public housing. I think this is a shame. This is a lie. Well, but the system now is like this. If you have enough votes, that's okay. And the functional constituencies are supporting you because they are working for the interests of conglomerates and property developers. They are selling out themselves. Then, of course, they are selling themselves at a very high price. And they make a lot of money. So you can see the violence of the system. This government just ignores people's views. And as long as it has enough votes, things like this will be approved. And I also saw the violence in you. Just now, well, you said this yourself. You said that you had to wait for people to take their seats and then the voting would close. And then you can wait forever for that. So that's why I asked the Secretariat to tell us what the time was exactly, what is meant by 1 minute, 60 seconds plus N, and what is N. I think the chairman has been most unfair. You waited for people to take their seats because you wanted to have enough votes. So I definitely will move a vote of no confidence against you. And I must get a record from the Secretariat about the time. Dr. Fernando Zhang, Chairman, CY Leung is not working according to rules and the law, and you are a good demonstration of that. Just now we witnessed 60 seconds being turned into 60 plus N seconds. You were waiting for the pro-establishment camp. You were trying to cut the 3 minutes that we are entitled to. This is really a shame. As the chairman of the FC, how come you ignore the rules like this? Look at the electrical now. Now, at the FC meeting, we need 2 security guards on both sides of the chairman's desk. Why don't you put barricades in front of you? Don't you need that? So you just have enough votes and that's okay? Well, you can drive your bulldozer to Northeast NT tomorrow. You can start tearing down people's houses tomorrow. Destroy their fields. Chop all the trees. Destroy their livelihood. Do you have any conscience left? You are ruining people's homes. Oh, we are always saying that, not in my backyard. But generations of those people have been living there for decades. And this is the biggest forced exodus in Hong Kong since the beginning of history. We are talking about ruining other people's homes. And people like you adopting such a top-down approach. And you just put a circle around those lands and then you say that they have to move out. And they lose their homes and you turn that land into whatever things you like. Do you have any conscience left? Those are people's homes. So for the pro-establishment camp, you only know how to press the button. Leung Sing, why do you have to be so stupid, putting yourself in such a position? After the handover, we have never seen such a huge clash. And you are chairing this meeting. You are the person who decides the scale of the clash. How come you're so silly, so stupid? Why do you have to bear all this? Can you really bear this responsibility? It's about the livelihood of so many people. Those young people outside, they are after justice. Can you bear the responsibility? Next, Mr. Liang Kai-chang. Just now, Mr. Chan Kim-po asked me how come I have so many questions about the developments. Am I staging a show? No, I'm not staging a show. I am an FC councillor. I do not have any constituents in Nantes. So what do I get if I do this? I don't get any votes. I just want to be fair. I don't understand how come there are so many AOs here and my assistants cannot even come in. Why? This is my first question. Why do you kick my assistants out? And what kind of fairness is this? Second, about the rule of law. Just now we had a lot of discussions on our procedures, on our rules, and if we cannot stick to these rules, how can we conduct meetings in the future? Do we just yell? Do we just fight? No, we cannot do that. This is a sacred place. This is a council. So let me talk about the development of Nantes. Do we have other options? Yes, we do. The Professionals Common has just spent a lot of money. It joined hands with the Chinese University of Hong Kong and some green groups. And together we put forward a new option about Yuen Long South and Kutong South. Let me talk about this option. And there are 4 characteristics. First of all, farmlands can be preserved. Well, for the northeast option, it will take up 60 hectares, but for the Yuen Long South option, less farmland will be used. And for the northeast option, over 1,000 elders living at Joe's Corner Garden will have to move. But for the Yuen Long South option, no elder would have to be rehoused. And for our proposed option, we will use brownfield sites first. We can make use of the contaminated land, and also we do not have to rehouse so many people. Why can't the government stop and think? Now, even at the community level, we can use so much resources and put together a new option. Why does the government have to stick its original option? Whom does it benefit? So I support Mr. Frederick Fung's motion to adjourn the meeting. Next, Mr. Chang Kwok-chu. I support Mr. Frederick Fung's motion to adjourn the meeting. And in response to Mr. Liang Kai-chang's Yuen Long South option, the answer is because nobody would make any money from the land you proposed. Now, there are many factors that make us think that the meeting should be adjourned. Now, let us look at the FC chairman. We have talked about the chairman's conflict of interest. We talked about it for 2 to 3 meetings. Somebody says that the chairman should not chair the meeting anymore because you are incapable. Well, I won't say that. However, I think there is still a lot of room for you to learn. As for handling motions, you haven't adhered to procedural justice. For the FC, it has its own procedure. But, Chairman, you haven't followed the most important procedures. For example, there are over 3,000 motions, and you haven't made any ruling concerning them. Are all of them not in order, or just one of them is not in order? These motions were put forward by members, but you just brushed them aside. And we also said that, Chairman, you can always draw a line, but you have never done that. Drawing a line is okay. I just cited an example, but he didn't do that. And outside the council, we see that the Nantes residents haven't been given ample opportunity to discuss with the government. It's not just expressing their views. It should be a discussion. And the Town Planning Board has never made a ruling concerning Nantes, whether the development of Nantes is in compliance with the Town Planning Ordinance. So all these procedures have not been followed, and why can't you just wait for a few more months? And we are not even asking you to wait for a few more months. We just want you to stop and think. So we want to adjourn the meeting because we want to tell people that we are reasonable. Mr. Lee Kwok Lun. Chairman, finally I got a chance to speak. I've been here for 10 years. I haven't been so angry before. Just now, maybe I had some conflicts with you. I'm sorry about that, but there is a reason why I am so unhappy. It seems that the rules have collapsed in this council. Now, before I became a member, I thought this was a solemn place, and we are talking about the rule of law. But since the beginning of May, the Finance Committee has shown us that we are ruled by people. And sorry, I am digressing because I am a teacher. Well, it seems that there are some monsters here with original scenes, but they do not have. Well, but they do not look at that. Well, I have votes, and because North District Hospital is my business, but of course that hospital would not be demolished. For some FC members, it seems that they do not have burden on them. Why are they helping to achieve this? Well, I don't think I am working for justice. Well, luckily my assistants are not working here. They are working in Jordan, and they have prepared a list of problems that are to be resolved, and there are 5 pages of them. They think that it would just be right if the meeting can be adjourned today so that there can be a cooling down period. We have heard a lot of rumors. When it comes to compensation, actually most of the compensation would go to the property developers that hold lands. And for many villagers that are living there, I think they need a face-to-face dialogues. Are you really building so many public housing units? Do we need more private flats or public flats? There are still a lot of questions to be answered. Mr. Frederick Fung is moving this motion to adjourn the meeting. This is good because it would give us some time so that we can cool down, we can go back and think. And the next week, when we sit down and talk again, we would do it with a clearer mind. Well, there are a lot of people outside, but we don't necessarily have to take that into consideration. But we all need to calm down so that next week, after your meeting with them, we can talk again. So that's why I support Mr. Fung's motion. Next, Mr. Wu Ji-wai. Thank you, Chairman. Over the past few weeks, the handling of the Nantes development has reflected that the chairman really tried to rush for it, but you are going nowhere. And it's the same for the government. Now we are just talking about the funding for the advanced works. But in the future, there will be an even bigger problem. villagers have put forward a lot of views. They hope that the government can take this into consideration. They hope to meet with Paul Chen. So finally, we have to rely on the chairman, and then the first step was taken. So this is something very important. That is, we have to stop for a while so that the chairman, the secretary, and the villagers can have a face-to-face dialogue, trying to resolve the problem. And then we can handle this next week. As for the next developments and planning, well, of course, this would involve a lot of villages there, but there are two original sins that we will have to face squarely. First, about Mrs. Carrie Lam. Before she took up the post of CS, she set up for the planning of the lands. There should be new towns. All the land should be resumed, and then the government will do the planning. Now, this is very important because otherwise, there will people will criticize that it's the government business sector collusion. And when Mr. Paul Chen took his post, he put forward a so-called enhanced version of land development. So for this new town model actually is tailor-made for property developers. So how can we be convinced? As for the third original sin, it involves the agricultural policy in Hong Kong. As for land, there are 60 hectares of agricultural land. People are still farming there, 60 hectares of farmland. And the government just asked them to go talk to the landlords in Kutong South, see if they would allow you to farm there. So how can you solve a problem like that? Well, we talked to the government saying that maybe Kutong South should also be developed, and some of the land can be kept as farmland. So for those who want to continue farming, they can still do that. But the government just turned a deaf ear to us. So with this original scenes, even though we approve the funding today, there will be numerous funding applications in the future. Ms. Emily Lau, Chairman, I support Mr. Feng's motion to adjourn the meeting. In the past few days, no matter whether it's inside or outside the council, people would ask, do you really want to be a legislator? Some people even query what I am doing in this council. But Chairman, if we go on like this, we are not only dividing Hong Kong. There are a lot of people outside watching us. They will think that going into politics is totally meaningless. I have been a legislator for so many years. We have always wanted to work hard, to look at the government's proposals, to work with the government. However, you has disgraced the Finance Committee. Now, the Legislative Council is supposed to deal with a lot of controversies. We should show people that we have the ability and the tolerance to deal with matters in a civilized manner. However, in your hands and in some other members' hand, the FC is now turned into a circus. You do not comply with the rules. I am a member of the commission, and they work independently and objectively. How come the Secretariat is now criticized by council members? How come a minute can be turned into so many seconds? I hope both the government and the Secretariat should understand this. despite of the political conflicts, you have to work independently and professionally. You should not disappoint legislators and Hong Kong people.
And so, when people violate the rules, you must not side with them. If you side with them, you are losing your credibility and reputation. We may no longer be LegCo members in the future, but the Secretariat staff will remain, and I hope that they will continue to serve the LegCo and members of the public in an impartial manner, and I hope that what has happened will not recur, and I hope to get an explanation. Mr. Albert Ho, if I disregard 1997, I have been a LegCo member for a total of 18 years. And I think this is the worst meeting ever I have had in this council. I think this council, this finance committee, has been brought into disrepute. Over 20 members had to start an uproar. They had to shout. They had to all stand up together because they had no alternatives. I really couldn't hold myself back. Initially, I felt that maybe the chairman was not experienced enough, but I've come to realize that you do not know the rules of procedure. When members raise a point of order, you brush them aside. The president, at least, will allow members to raise the question, to raise the point of order. Now, members may want a quorum count. They may want to move a motion to adjourn the meeting, and rules or points of order should come first. They should take precedence. Even a chairman of a student union knows the ABCs of conducting meetings. And when we voted, you only gave us 1 minute to vote. The bell was rung for only 1 minute. We were alarmed. And then when the time was up, you waited till the pre-establishment members came back and cast their votes, and then you closed the voting. And I want to tell you that if someone moves a motion to remove you from the chairmanship, I would definitely support that motion. So I'm really sad. I'm really disappointed. And you have made many rulings which are unacceptable. But concerning how you've conducted the meetings, I think you've gone against the best practices we have built up over the years. Chairman, we won't be able to vote on this item today. And I hope that next week we'll see the beginning of good interaction. C.Y. Leung likes to boast of his so-called achievements. His governance is not people-based. It is developer-based. Next, Mr. Ronnie Tong. I joined LegCo in 2004. My family members asked me, what for? Why did you want to join LegCo? And I said I had already earned enough money, and so I would like to contribute to the work of the council and to contribute to society. So a decade later, I've used up my money, I've used up my savings, and I haven't been able to do anything for this council. And recently, the council has not been able to operate. And I think the ultimate cause is a system which lacks balance, and a pro-establishment camp doesn't respect procedural justice. Now, At these FC meetings, I was either present or I was upstairs observing the proceedings, and I don't think you have respected procedural justice. As a chairman, you need not have legal expertise. You need not be a chairman. You only need to act fairly and conduct the meeting fairly. You have to play by the rules of the game. No, and then when we voted, everybody in Hong Kong saw that you didn't play by the rules of the game. You gave members 1 minute, and then members had to cast their vote. And then your 1 minute became 2 minutes or even 3 minutes, depending on your liking. And as a result, more members could come back to vote. So that was not procedural justice at all. And when a member said that he wanted to move a motion to adjourn the meeting, you did not deal with the motion. You either said a ruling had been made, or you passed the buck to the clerk. So that was not procedural justice. As I have said, the FC is responsible for monitoring the use of public funds. We are not here to press the support buttons as soon as practicable. I'm not a member of this or belonging to this category. Why do we have to make a decision so urgently? The Town Planning Board has yet to make a decision, and even after the board has made a decision, there may be a JR. So, considering this amount of money, if it has been spent, we don't know how much of the money spent would have been wasted. And what if there is a JR? We don't know the outcome. All right? Now, because many members referred to what I did after the division bell had been rung for 1 minute, and so I heard members' views, and then now I would like to respond. At that time, I saw many members coming in, and when I saw, or normally when I see members already coming into the conference room, I will ask them to return to their seats as soon as possible. You can you can listen to the audio recordings. And at that time, there were many members who were still rushing back to their seats. And I didn't notice which members were rushing back to their seats. I only saw members rushing back to the seats. And I had to make sure that members return to their seats because that would be important in the counting of votes. So, but of course, I cannot expect all members to agree with me on my approach. And then there are 12 members who are queuing up to speak on this motion. So I don't think this motion, we can finish dealing with this motion by the scheduled end time of the meeting, in other words, 7:10. But then, if we go past the scheduled time, the motion will become meaningless or invalid, and that will not be brought to the next meeting, and so I declare that the meeting be now adjourned.